Hey, sports fans. Welcome to WTP Sports Dudes. I'm Robert. Today, I want to talk a little bit about headset communication and NIL along with the transfer portal. Because we all know that NIL and the transfer portal has been off the hook these last 2 years. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about those three topics on this short episode. So, first off, I want to talk about headset communication because there's a lot going around about what is it going to look like, how does it operate, and are teams going to be using it legally or trying to use it illegally? Of course, we all think that the reason why headset communication came about was because of so-called Jim Harbaugh stealing signs. Now we all know college football coaches have been trying to find an advantage any way they can, and watching people signs and stealing signs has been around for many, many years. So that's not a new thing. Harbaugh was just good at what he does. And many coaches always stay in the gray area on all kinds of rules. So don't think for 1 second that the reason why Michigan went undefeated last year was because of some daggone sign stealing. That's not the case. They just was flat out good at football. That's why they won the national championship. So back to headset communication. Now, everybody wants to know, is headset communication going to start soon as the ball is placed and the clock is turned on for the play to begin for those first 15 seconds and then it's shut off? Or once the play is over, can a coach communicate with his quarterback? Or can a defensive coordinator communicate with whoever's controlling the headset on the defense? So I'm interested to know how it's all going to work. Is it going to be after the play is over and the ball is set? Or is it once the play is blown dead, you can start communicating with your quarterback? And as a coach, would I want to talk to my guy for a long period of time to have him thinking too much? Or do you want your quarterback to be out there, get the play, call it, and get ready and get set to go? Getting up there quickly can help because now the coach can see some of the defense that is set up and probably give you a few pointers. But I wouldn't want to talk to my player when the clock is running down, especially not within 10 seconds. That would be crazy because you would have your quarterback having so many things on his head that he probably isn't focusing on what he needs to do on that play. So I definitely am interested in how this headset communication is going to work. One thing I do like about it is that now coaches can be communicating with their quarterback and they can get things running a lot better for that quarterback and bring them up to speed because that's how the NFL game is. And I really believe that college football should adopt a lot more of the rules that exist in the NFL because in reality, those players are really auditioning for the NFL. So the rules should start to apply just like the rules in the NFL apply. I think wide receivers or whoever's catching the football should have to get 2 feet in. There's no reason for players not to try to get 2 feet in because you're going to have to work on that to go in the NFL anyway. So you might as well do it now. And if I'm correct, I think at the high school level, you got to have 2 feet in. So they might as well change that rule. Now, one rule that I hope that they do change, because I do want to see more exciting plays on kickoffs, is to move the kickoff back some, so that way that they can return those balls. I think like they might do in the Canadian League or one of those other leagues where they kick the ball off from a further distance, giving players enough room to catch the ball and get a chance to return it. I think that will add some excitement to the game, even though that is probably the most dangerous part of the football game is kicking the football off. So I think that that's another rule that they should at least consider looking at so that we can have a little bit more excitement and teams can probably get back in the games a lot quicker that way if they can get a good return. So back to this headset communication thing. I'm kind of interested in how our defensive coordinator is going to use it. Are you going to have it on your safety? Is your safety going to be the person that has your headset communication? Is it going to be your linebacker? I'm almost certain it's not going to be a lineman. I can't see a lineman having headset communication. but it's probably going to be your most experienced and most talented and most respected defensive player outside of a defensive lineman, of course. So I'm anxious to see what coaches are going to come up with, what they're going to do with this headset communication. Is it going to change over time? Is it going to stay the same? And are they going to get away from all of these hand signals and all of that other stuff that they do on the sideline to try to confuse the other team's defensive coordinator? I'm very interested to see how all of that is going to play out. But I guess over time we'll find out. The next thing I want to talk about is NIL. Now, man, listen, I'm the first person to tell you I'm all for college players getting paid for their name, image, and likeness. I think it has been a long time coming. It should have came a long time ago. But I'm very excited about NIL. But I think they need to figure out how they can manage this thing because now it's almost like it's a bidding war for players who jump in the transfer portal. Man, that's crazy. That's almost like having free agency. That might be what they might as well call it, free agency. And you got a lot of coaches and teams are hiring general managers, like they have in the NFL and other professional sports. So they might as well get a control of this thing. You know, they're saying that quarterbacks are going to be making upwards of $1.5, $2 million a season. Wow. And then wide receivers are probably going to come in at 750,000. It's crazy how players, and I ain't mad at them, because coaches do it all the time. They getting paid and they can leave a team and do whatever they want to do and go somewhere else and get all this money. So I'm all for players being able to do it too. But I think it needs to be controlled because now it's starting to become to where it's like a bidding war. Who can give me the most money? As opposed to having a level of dedication to the institution that you cite your national letter of intent to. And I think that we need to find a way to figure all of that out because I hate to see, you know, colleges and universities having to go through all that kind of a management system to make sure that they can keep their players that they recruited out of high school. You know, I think they need to get a cap on it or something. I don't know. I'm not an expert on it, but I know that there's a problem with it, even though I'm excited that it exists. There is a problem with it, and it needs to get under control. The next thing I want to talk about is this transfer pool. Now, listen, man. One thing I don't like about it, and I know that it happens. I know that it happens because you hear people talking about it all the time where you might have coaches on teams trying to persuade guys to leave their university to come and play for them and be flashing that NIL money in their face. Man, that's crazy. Why would you want to do that to a young man instead of having that young man work out whatever it is he needs to work out at that university that he's at? You know, if it can't be worked out, then of course you got to find you a new home. I understand all that. But at the same time, I don't think it's right for coaches to be trying to persuade schools to leave, especially when they know that a player has had some kind of issue or turmoil with some coach. That's nuts, man. And they even will talk about a program, especially when you get a player that transfers from a university and goes somewhere else, and then that player starts to badmouth that university that they came from. Those coaches use that same thing that next year to recruit a player out of high school, saying you don't want to go to this school because of so and so and so and so and this and that. Man, that is nuts. But unfortunately, we just live in a time where all manners of doing whatever you want to do is being done freely. And I think that those things need to get under control because college football is a beautiful game. Now, this is my opinion, but if I had to watch any sport 365 days out of the year, it would be college football. Now I watch professional basketball, professional football. I watch college basketball, and a variation of other sports. But out of all of the sports, I would rather watch college football all day, every day, if I could, because those games are just so much more exciting than the professional game. The professional games are good, but they lack that enthusiasm that you see in the college game. So, I just wanted to share those thoughts with you. I want you to know that any one of my friends that are watching this video, if you ever want to come on the show and let's talk about your team, please hit me up so that way we can sit down. I got an extra chair right here waiting for somebody to come and sit in it so we can dialogue and talk and share your thoughts about your team. So hit me up so I can get you on the show. So remember to like the video, subscribe to the videos, and make sure that you hit that bell so that you can get notifications every time I make a video. Also, leave comments in the comment section so I know what your thoughts are about the video that I just made or the topic that I'm talking about. Hit the comments about what you think about headset communication, what you think about NIL, and what you think about the transfer portal. All three of those things are hot topics about college football. And before I go, I want to say one more thing. It almost seems like all of the college players who are playing at the D1 level, they're auditioning to get into the NFL, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all because I know that most of those players who play in college football and Division One level, they want to become NFL players. But at the same time, I want them to understand that life goes on after professional sports. You got to make sure you get that degree, get that knowledge in your head. So when you leave the game of football, you can go out there and do something with your life outside of football. It'll help you to keep from being depressed about the fact that you're not in the league anymore. It can help you to manage your money and your finances better. It can help you to invest your money better so that way you won't go broke in the long run. Too many college and pro athletes who have made money have go broke because they haven't prioritized that knowledge that they need to have in their head. So, with that being said, thanks for tuning in and hook